All right. Okay. So I'm just kind of by myself on this one. I'm doing a presentation, obviously, on firewalls. And so let's go through it. Okay, first of all, what is a firewall? Firewall permits and denies the flow of data in order to protect a network. It can be a hardware or software-based device. It examines all the data flowing to and from the network to determine if the data is safe and whether to forward it to its destination. It can filter based on attributes such as IP addresses, ports, destination services such as www or FTP, protocols, and etc. The two big types of firewalls that are host-based and network-based. Host-based is a software application that's installed on a single device. Uh, these type of firewalls just tend to protect the individual computer regardless of whatever network it's on. The network-based firewalls are managed on the network level and can be both hardware and software-based. These protect the entire perimeter of the network. Um, Most companies like to have required you to have both for extra protection. For extra protection. Uh, so there are a few rules with firewalls, and usually when setting up a firewall, you should know the firewall rules can conflict with one another, and so it's good to know in the order that these processes usually go. And so the first thing that it does is authenticated bypass, which allows matching network traffic that would otherwise be blocked. The second thing is block connection. That blocks all matching inbound network traffic. The third one is allow connection. That allows the matching inbound network traffic. The fourth one is default profile behavior. That blocks unsolicited inbound network traffic, but allows all outbound network traffic. These last two are pretty important as well, just to remember. Inbound rules explicitly allows or explicitly blocks inbound network traffic that matches the criteria in the rule. The next one is outbound rules that they explicitly allow or explicitly block network traffic originating from the computer that matches the criteria in the rule. So basically, inbound rules are the things that inbound, it's exactly what it sounds like. Inbound traffic is the stuff coming into the computer. Outbound would be stuff going from the computer. Both these rules help block, are the things what block the data that's going to and from the computer. Without rules, the firewall really wouldn't operate. It needs to have rules to tell it what to block specifically. As far as options go, most operating systems actually have a firewall built into them by the manufacturer. For example, Windows, Macintosh, even some forms of Linux, you can get with a built-in firewall. Just to give you a really quick, I'm running a Windows machine here, and you can actually go down and edit your firewall by going to the control panel, the system security, and the Windows firewall. And right now I have a internet security, cybersecurity, and that's what's providing for my firewall. So it's pretty much taking care of everything right now. McAfee, but just to give you a rough idea, so you got the inbound rules, meaning that what's allowed to come into my computer, and the outbound rules, what I'm allowed to basically transfer out, I'm able to do. So these are the rules and what's allowed and what isn't allowed. So anyway, so that's pretty much on all operating system. So most all operating systems actually have a firewall built into them. It's kind of standard. The next thing is commercial firewalls. These tend to be easy to use. They're pretty straightforward because they've been modified and stuff just for the ease of the user and the fact that you don't really have to play around with much. It's pretty much good to go. They provide good security, but they do cost money and they tend to be a bit pricey at times. A lot of times these can come in. I'm mostly focusing on host-based firewalls rather than network, just because that's pretty much the main thing that I'm thinking of right now that I'm talking about. So these can be like a yearly subscription to things. They can be pricey and they do cost money, but they are really easy to use and they do provide good security. Open source firewalls, which is something we're going to talk about a little bit more, is actually it's free online. Anyone can look at the source code, which because it's open source and modify it if they want. They tend to not be as good as commercial firewalls in terms of how easy they are to use and the protection they provide. But because it's open source and people are constantly making updates to it, they are catching up. So here's a few options that I was looking at when doing this project. I actually didn't want to. I'm running a Windows-based Windows platform, but since I have McAfee for my firewall, and I didn't really want anything conflicting with that, I actually downloaded a virtual box VM, and so I could, and on that is what I actually used that's what I actually downloaded this onto. So these are just a few I just Googled and kind of looked around. These tend to be fairly popular ones: pfSense, Smoothwall, Untangle, ClearOS, IPFire, Shorewall, Indian, OpenSense, BYOS, IPCOP. Quite a few of these actually, Indian. They actually quite a few of these actually give you an option. They'll give you an open source free firewall if you want, but for they do have a pay for it option, meaning that some of the nicer things you have to actually pay for. If they give you the open source one, and it's good, but it's just not as good as what they offer you if you're willing to pay pay money. The one I decided to go with was OPN Sense. I just liked it. It seemed pretty straightforward. And these are a few of the reasons why. This is just on kind of like their homepage, but another big thing that they offered was it could be used for, they had downloads for the Windows platform, for the Apple Macintosh, as well as for Linux. So I really liked it. A few of these things that the big one that I really liked was easier user interface. That I feel like that's big for anyone, but I really like that. Stateful firewall, traffic shaper, two-factor authentication, captive portal, virtual private network, high availability CARP, filtering, catching, proxy, inline intrusive prevention, multi-WAN, loading balancing, high performance TCP HTTP load balancer, issue LUTs encrypt certificates, full mesh VPN routing using Tink, backup to Google Drive, support for virtual installs, NetFlow exporter, network flow monitoring, built-in reporting and analysis, plugin support, REST API, community and commercial support, online searchable documentation. Like I said, I really like the easy user interface, and some of these other ones, they did make a difference because I was using a VirtualBox VM rather than just a regular operating system like Windows, or like I say, I didn't want it to conflict with my I really didn't want it to conflict with my McAfee on that I have right now. And so these are just my sources that I did that I got all my information from. Uh, I basically just went, like I said, I went with OpenSense because it seemed easy, it seemed straightforward, and yeah, it was good. It definitely was it was fairly easy to use. The but that being said, I still prefer, of course, my right now anyway, I still prefer my McAfee as opposed to the my commercially paid for firewall. And so that's pretty much the end of my presentation, and thank you so much.